grateful. Demonstrate to the brim. Alright, yeah, chill.
Welcome back to the YouTube channel, guys. It's Jay Ayyo. Before we get into it, welcome back to the YouTube channel. For those of you who are new, welcome. This is where we turn viral moments into teachable lessons. So let's get right into it. So I want to give a shout out to the Cayman Islands national football team. They have beaten Antigua and Barbuda, and so that will be their World Cup qualifier. So they'll be going to the World Cup. That's really good news. Now, most of you are seeing the title of this video and they're saying, well, you know, what's this in here and stuff like that. So let me lay it down. So we have Cayman's top striker, who is Mr. Layden Thomas. Mr. Layden Thomas plays overseas in the United Kingdom for the National Southern Premier League. Now, what is the problem? The problem is that Mr. Layden Thomas has not been asked to play for the Cayman Islands national soccer team, despite his track record of getting the Golden Boot back a couple of years back, despite him, you know, shooting goals at his league in the United Kingdom, and him being a Caymanian, he hasn't been asked for the national team in the Cayman Islands, or the national football team in the Cayman Islands. So let me break it down. So the issue, or rather the concern of what the mitigating factors that Mr. Thomas Jr. has, is that, you know, he has more experience and exposure playing overseas. Why is he now being paid the same as a 15-year-old who is on a reserve? He's of the view that if I have more experience, if I've played overseas, you know, I should be compensated for, you know, appearances, you know, I should be given some type of salary, and even you know, just more. So he's asking for appearances, he's asking for salary, and I think he's also asking for, like, you know, performance-based compensation as well. So in terms of the interaction that has been happening with the Cayman Islands Football Association president, I guess Layden tried having a discussion with the president, and the president wasn't feeling it. He wasn't seeing eye to eye to it. I think they may have offered Mr. Layden something, but that was not in line with what Mr. Layden wants. Because in addition as well, I think Mr. Layden has, you know, wants health insurance. He's basically saying, like, hey, if I'm going to be playing for the national team, it more or less should make up as if, like, I am working a full-time jobs. Now, what I can say is that most athletes, or should I say athletes in general in the Caribbean, aren't usually paid on par, or, you know, equivalent, or to the level of what the sport takes. So for most of you who aren't familiar, soccer, you have to get cleats, you have to get the shin pads. You know, once you use the cleats 1-2 time, they mash up. So, and especially if you play at like a certain higher level, you know, there's a greater risk of injury. So if you roll your ankle, or roll your foot, you kind of out. So Layden low-key try and cover his bases. Now, I think what Mr. Layden had requested was that, you know, he wants $1,000 in appearance fee. He wants a contractual performance benefits, and all of the offers that he has made to the CIFA, Cayman Islands Football Association, has been shut down. And the president, I believe maybe Alfredo Whitaker, is just not accepting that. You know, Mr. Alfredo Whitaker is of the view, or I can't speak for him, allegedly, that, you know, you should do it for love of country. You know, a lot of people would kill to play for this opportunity. Now, I'll get to that later, but, you know, Mr. Layden decided, you know, I have responsibilities, I have a child, I have a dad, you know, no one's, you know, covering that. You know, I have a job that really needs to, like, you know, cover all of that. Will I be getting that playing for the national team? And I think Mr. Layden has assessed the risk and realized, well, what's the point of me going to play? Yes, I get exposure, but everybody knows at the end of the day, it doesn't pay the bills. It's money that pays the bills. It's your your ability to perform that pays the bill, or rather, should I say, if you're being paid, can it cover your bills? Can it cover your expenses? Can it cover your obligation as a world-class athlete? Now, the thing that has to be recognized is that, you know, Leighton Thomas, though he's 25 years old, he's in his prime. He's the only football player from the Cayman Islands to play professionally at the National Southern Premier League, which is 5 tiers below the English Premier League. Now, though that may be the case, he is playing at a professional level. He's being paid at the English, well, correction, he's being played at the National Southern Premier League. So if CIFA isn't able to match this, I can understand Mr. Leighton's hesitance in really doing that. The thing with Leighton's case is that it sounds very familiar and similar to Leon Bailey. Now, for most of you who don't know who Leon Bailey is one of the top football players in Jamaica. He plays for the Jamaica national team, but he himself also plays at the Premier League known as Aston Villa in the United Kingdom, and that is a top club. Now, what Leon Bailey has cited is also similar situations that Leighton has had. You know, he's talked to the well, I wouldn't say FIFA president, but maybe the Football Association president over there, and has said, you know, hey, you know, when his tickets are getting booked, he has to stop at multiple spots to get there, and he's like, it's giving, you know, not at the level used to. You know, when he requests to get in a room for himself, it's like a hassle. You know, when he goes to get gear, this Leon Bailey we talking about, you know, at the end of the day, when he goes to get gear, it's not sorted out. Sometimes he get female gear. So it seems from an operational standpoint, allegedly with the Jamaican Football Association, it doesn't, you know, really provide the basic necessities that Leon Bailey is accustomed to. So the whole situation with Leon Bailey, which was cited 2 months ago, was that, you know, he breached curfew by not coming back to the hotel within the specified time. Now, we're not going to get sidetracked and what have you, but what Leon said, you know, is that, you know, he shows up, he plays for his team out of love for his country, and he doesn't get compensation. The switch with Leighton is that Leighton is not in that position to go play for free. You can't go to a job and expect to be paid nothing when you have the experience, you have the qualifications, you have the track record, and your local football association regulator does not invest in you to deliver. It really is demotivating to local athletes. And so what was said to Leon Bailey was that, I think the head said that he would not be inviting Leon Bailey to the next camp. Leon Bailey had said that, you know, he was looking at it within himself and said, you know, this is draining. Like, you know, he can't get any exposure with Jamaica. If anything, he's providing more exposure on Jamaica. And so he has just realized that he's not going to get anywhere by sticking with the Jamaican team. He may come back at the end of the day, but from his standpoint, he's been, you know, doing it as rather a love for his country and a favor to his country. Now, what is the lesson in this at the end of the day? Well, the lesson is that, you know, you have to pay people fairly in order for them to compete, and so that they're able to provide for their families and, you know, show up. If you don't do that, it makes it really hard for the person to stay in the sport, to continue the sport, or even want to play the sport at the end of the day. Because as is known with the FIFA regulations, football associations can provide money and designate individuals that they see fit. Now the question is, an exception could have been made for both Leighton Thomas, who plays in the Cayman Islands Football Association League, and also for Leon Bailey, who plays for the Football Association League. The difference is that, you know, when politics comes into certain things, it complicates things. But at the end of the day, if you pay people fairly and you pay athletes fairly or compensate them fairly, they want to play. Most of the athletes want to play, but the money isn't there for them to continue. And I think if we could find some level of balance in both football associations, it would encourage people. But people need to also know it's very difficult, you know, getting at that level where you're Cristiano Ronaldo making those $1 million, whether you're like what my guy name, Jude, I don't know what Jude's last name, but Jude Bellingham, for instance, you know, they put in years and it takes a lot of investment. So at the end of the day, you know, if Caribbean football associations want to perform at that level, they'll need to start investing at the end of the day. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you all in the next video.
They fall from them straight to the brain.